All right, so today, as the first lesson of trying to teach the fundamentals of programming, we're going to learn about Git. So, what's Git? Git really isn't that hard of a thing. It's a version control tool used to manage uh, bigger code bases. I can say so. So, in layman's language, it's like when you're building a house and we have a mason, we have a carpenter. All these people or all these workers try and contribute to building a house. Now you're working on a code base. Let's say you're five, six developers. You're working on a code base. Now somebody is working on X feature, Y feature that has to be shipped. I mean, to be used or to be pushed to production once at a go. Literally pushed, used. I mean, those are Git terms, but I'm going to explain that later. So, we are working on a feature. Let's say we're building a system that shows cat pictures on the internet. So, one is working on how the frame will look like, the other person is working on how the user will or where the user will click to add the picture. So these two people are working on one code base now. What tool do they use to manage? It's like when you're doing a video call with your parent or with your siblings or with your loved ones. You're talking here, they are talking there. You're trying to communicate. So these two code bases need to come together to produce one bigger thing. Now Git is that tool that's used to manage that. We're going to explore and see different sections of Git and how it can be used on a certain code base. All right, let's enjoy the lesson. All right, so the first step in understanding this Git, just go to your Google or the browser you're using and just type in Git. So it will land you here. So if you're on Windows, you should choose install for Windows, of which it gives you the instructions for Mac OS and Linux. But for Linux, it comes in pre-installed. So for Linux users, just go to your terminal. So my terminal is this, and you can type in Git version. So as the way you're seeing on the screen, Git dash version. If it gives you a version, then it's already installed. But if it's not installed, I'll attach instructions to install these Git on your MacBook, and that's all. Now the next step is creating a GitHub account. So Git goes in handy with GitHub. Now what is GitHub? GitHub is like a place where your code stays on the server. It's a open web where you can store your code on the servers, and from there, anybody, if the repository is public, let's just check it out. If the repository is public means anybody on the internet can check it out. So go to your search engine and just type in GitHub. So for GitHub, all you need to do is create an account, and pretty much it will come to something like this. Yep. So this is my GitHub account. My username is Geek Egan. You can just say Geeken. So that's my username. And in here, what you need to do is go to repositories. If you don't have one, you create one. So there's here for creating a new repository. You can try and create. So let's call these github dash git tutorial. Right, so make it public, anybody can see it. Make it private, only you and the people you have added to that repository can see it. So repository is like, it's like you post image on Instagram or Facebook, and you can make it public or just make it for your members, and they are the one who view it. So the code is the image, and GitHub is the Instagram. I hope you now understand. So description basically means what you're trying to do. So trying to teach Git and GitHub, and you create a repository. So after creating a repository, you have to ensure that your local machine can communicate with your GitHub account. I'm going to my terminal, right? So I'm going to go to my dev. Don't mind about the command. CD command means go to dev, CD personal. Web. So I'll have to right click, go to copy path, and go to my favorite browser, that's Brave, and just paste it there. So when I paste it there, guess what do you get? Now it's being rendered. The program is run through on Chrome's on browsers rather. So that's not the big deal right now. I want to show you how to track this file. Basically, that's the function of Git. So I want to show you how to track this file. And if you're working with a team of like 5 guys, 4 guys, you have to like push it somewhere and people can make changes. So the bigger fish to fry, let's go back to VS Code. And the first command I want to teach you is starting Git on your project. So go to the terminal, to the directory or the folder that the project is, just type it git init. So this means git initialize. Init is the short form of initialize. It's like you're telling this project now to have git. Now what do you notice? There is a green color on the file, and there's this U. U means it's untracked file. So what do we do? What do we mean by untracked? To get the terminal perspective, or rather what Git says on the terminal, let me just clear it. Clear, that's the command of wiping the terminal. So let's do something like, not do something, let's see the status. So just git status. In here you're able to now understand there's one untracked file called index.html. So how do you track it? So the first thing, you need to add that file. So the second command is git add. So add has 2 commands. You can do dot, meaning if you made a lot of changes on different files. Let me add all, then you can see. So if you do that, you see it has changed from mu to a. Now this a, it means that it's uncommitted. It's added, but it has no commitment. So the next thing is committing. Now say git commit. This means you're removing it from you've added it to Git, but you still wanna now reference that addition, that change. What does it entail? So you commit it and add a message. This message helps in tracking large changes. So you say maybe if it's a feature, fit added HTML. So if you come here and say git status, what do you see? There's nothing to commit. Everything is tracked now, and the file goes back to the way it was initially before I added git to this repository. Now let's try and add 2 files, right? So I want to add a file, index.js. Okay, and another one, global dot css. Now I have added two files. Remember, I told you the first function, the first command was adding all. All is represented by full stop. So git add, then full stop or a dot. But this time round, I want to add a specific file. I just want to add the CSS, but not the JS file. So what do? I'll just do git add, then the name. So it will be global.css. Now, remember, if you go to git status, what do you see? There's changes to be committed. I've just added but not committed. So global.css is added and not committed, yet index.js is still untracked, meaning we're still on a good place. So what do we do next? So let me commit. So git commit -m added some CSS. Hey, come on, I have big fingers. So added some CSS, and that, my friends, is the tracking message. You've said you're explaining that you're committing the change, you're explaining what you've done. So if you go to git status, so you realize on branch and tracked files only remain index.js, of which it's okay. Now, how do you connect your local repository to? Remember, you have all these changes are just being done here locally. So how do you connect it to the global, your global URL rather? So what you need to do? There are two commands you need to understand first. So the first thing, you need to configure your global username and password if you haven't done that. So there's these two commands I need you to understand. I'll just attach that git config -global. So it will be git config, which means configure, which means setter, global. Then what do you wanna configure? Username, user.name. So you use your GitHub username that you used. So mine is G Keegan, right? So when I do that, or I have already done that. So you need to do that. And also, because I don't want to, I'm just giving you that. Then again, you want to do git config global user dot email. So you need to use the email that you use to register your GitHub account. Now, remember the way I told you on how to set the token. That's when you'll be prompted the token and you will add it. Every time you're pushing the code, it will ask you to add. Pushing is actually taking the code from your local repository to GitHub. Now, your local is the Git running on your computer here. Now to GitHub. So what do we do? Let's go back to GitHub, right? So there is instructions that you're given. Ensure you own this HTTPS if you're using the token. So this is your address if you're pairing it. But for me, remember I told you my computer is paired to the GitHub using SSH key. So I'll have to use this. So the first thing is git init. I've already told you about that. Add, we don't want to add this readme. Commit, you gotta commit if it's your first time, but I've already told you this. Now there's the issue of branching. Yeah. So branch main, meaning you're declaring your first branch. Now, what are branches in Git? Branches is just like a tree. Assume you have a tree, but every branch has its own functionality. So if you have a big code base, you are working on a branch that has maybe changes that deal with databases. The other branch has changes that deal with a certain maybe queries or optimizing queries. or so you're working on another branch and you want to merge to one branch that has a majority of the features that you need, the majority of the features that you need. Now you have to create a branch first. That's what this command does. So let me just clip it, copy, and go back. So what this does, it creates a main branch, which is the main. You can call it main or master, right? We had already committed the first message. So what do we do next? Next is pairing this repository to the origin of these other GitHub repositories. So what do we do? Repository is just a place where you can find the code. So there's this git remote add. So ensure you copy it as it is on the instructions. So when you come here to the VS Code and just do this, let me paste it, git remote add origin, then that's the origin you're given. So if you're on HTTPS protocol, remember, if you're using token, you must use this. So what you will see, you'll just copy these HTTPS part. So switch it to here and you can see git remote add, then it gives you the HTTPS remote link. Yeah, so the origin URL. Yeah, so you need to add this origin. So this means connect your local repo to the origin one. So just copy this, git remote add origin. Just come back to your Visual Studio Code. So in here, I'll cancel this and paste that. And that's how it's connected. So after that you need to branch out to main, of which we've already done that main, right? No, but we haven't. So you need to branch out, follow the instructions down here. GitHub will give you perfect instructions of how you will execute it. So you need to branch out to the initial branch called main, it will be your main branch. So do this, get branch dash main. So this means you're initializing and branching out to the first branch and calling it main. Now, if you have already done that, what is remaining now is pushing your local code, meaning you want it to appear on the GitHub server. So currently it's stored on your computer. Right now, if I just refresh it on the code, there's nothing. So it's still new. There's nothing I've pushed. So when I do git push dash u origin main is this branch that we have created. What it does is it appears here on the GitHub server. So let me just take you to GitHub and refresh it. So miraculously, your code just came out from your PC to GitHub, and that's how your code will be accessible. So remember this index.html, I just can view it here. You see, hello GitLab. That's how it has appeared. So that's it about basic Git. Okay, really what's remaining is cloning. So let's say you want a project that's not really yours. So we can go to GitHub and just explore Linux open source GitHub. So in here you can just find the Linux or Linux open source and you can clone it. So what you do here in code, you're given the SSH HTTPS. So what you do, you just write git clone, you copy this, and if you want this repository on your machine, just come here on your terminal, right? In here we still have git. So let me just check out to the upper level, right? And just say git clone and press that repository. So what this does, it's like cloning, copying someone's code online, and it should be public. So you can just copy it to your PC and now start maintaining it. You can start maintaining open source project using this. So if I press enter, what it does, it will copy that linux.git and you see cloning into Linux. So it will copy these linux.git and it will come back to it will come down to my PC. So you see receiving objects and cloning. So that's how the meaning of cloning, meaning you just cloning, like you copying it. Pretty straightforward, right? So what's remaining now is branching. So for you to create a new branch, what I can do is teach you how to create a branch. So let's see, right now I'm working on the main branch. That's where everything is. But if I want to just generate a new branch, the command is git checkout the -b. So -b means a new branch, and let's call it dev branch, right? So if I switch to a new dev branch, what can I do here? So in dev branch, I can make some changes and push it to another origin and name it dev. So what I can do here in the index.js, I can just say functional. What do you call this function? We call it a great. And inside great, it takes in name as a variable, right? And inside the name, inside the function, what it does, it executes just say return hello name. That's okay, and end it there. So if I want to just push this on my on my dev environment, what I can do, I can just say git add everything, then git commit -m java grid, and I can just git push origin dev. It will take my dev locally and push it to origin. Now this will give you a URL. Now if you copy this URL, you'll find that it's a new thing. If you copy it, you can be able to see that it takes you to a completely new environment or a new place in GitHub. So come here, paste this. What do you see? We created also a new dev branch. So there's a branch now called dev. Remember, it was main, and I can just take the code and merge it to main. So what are the changes? You can see the changes. There's a function called grit, and it's pushing it to the main. So if I create a request, it means that I just wanna take the code and put it inside the main. So if you merge, now it's like you combining the two branches. And what happens when I go on my local PC, check out to main, if I just say git checkout main, right? Now I'm back to main and say git pull origin main. What it does, there are some changes that came into the main, right? And voila, if you come here to index, there is that function now. It was made on the dev environment, but right now it's in here. So how about git stash? Let's say you did a change, right? Let's say if I want to add a second function, call it function. Say no, right? And it takes in name as a argument, and in here I can just say return No, the name. It's a silly function, right? Right. Then I add. So get status. So there is a modified index.js. But if you don't want those changes, you can just stash them. Stash means you want to. So you have stashed you have just stashed the changes, and if you say get status, voila, you back to the way it was. So there's no name, just remains no without really changing the code. This comes in handy when you have done something that you regret doing it and you don't want to commit. Now once you commit, as you have seen, there's no the reverse gear and the until you might maybe you just don't push, you check out to a new branch and maybe rectify those changes. So that's it for today. I hope you've learned something, and see you on the next.